we want to get the word out that 99 for one is looking for ones. Every time someone reads that shirt, they might even consider themselves to be a one. How many did you get yours? We had like 28 shirts for you guys. Not really, but I'm super excited. We've been doing a series called the Encounter series, and I've been getting a little help from some family on making sure you guys remember what this thing is called. So I don't want you to think I'm just going to bombard you guys with pictures of my new granddaughter. But what is that? Every picture that Kiki has sent me. We didn't put that on the live stream that's going out. That's just for people who are here. Amazing news. Next week, baby Rosalina will be here. And for the first time yet, 99 for one will have a baby dedication. And what we're going to do is pray for the parents and lay our hands on the parents for them to raise her up in the ways of the Lord. And we're going to dedicate her to the Lord because even though Kiki and Bryant are the mom and dad, and even though I'm the grandfather and Christina is, or I'm Papa, and Christina is Gigi, she's the Lord's. And we dedicate her. We say from this day on, which was the day she was born, when she was born, I was praying that she would be the Lord's. And I was even speaking a blessing over her that she would receive all that the Lord has stored up for his chosen people. And that is applicable to her, even though I don't think she has any Jewish blood, but she is grafted in because of Jesus, just like you and I are. And that's somewhat of a transition into what we're going to be talking about because as I've been talking about these encounters, we've been looking at so far just Old Testament encounters that God has had with man. And I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I went to Bible school. I've been doing this for 3 decades. I have never learned so much as I have just magnifying glass looking at these encounters between God and man. And even this one today, all the way up to driving here, has really been wrecking me and showing me what people mean to God and what God wants to be to people. So today, last week, well, let's see if we can remember. The first encounter I ever talked about, Adam and Eve, the encounter with God in the garden. The second encounter I ever talked about was what? Abraham. You're doing good. You're killing it, killing it. And then after Abraham was Jacob. You guys are awesome. And then after Jacob was Moses, the burning bush. That's right. And Moses is so blessed because he gets another encounter. And this is one of the most well-known encounters of all time. And this is the Mount Sinai encounter. Now, I have learned a lot on the context of where this comes, and that's what I'm going to talk about. If you don't know about Mount Sinai yet, you're blessed and you are in for a huge treat. You should have gotten a text message that told you the passages and the notes for my message today. If not, I will have them for you right here. We're going to get right. Oh, wait, did you see that one, how it moved? And this one, her praising the Lord. She was singing gratitude. I throw up my hands, praise you again and again. But we're going to look in Exodus. And I'm trying to think how I want to do this because I got an enlightenment on the way here thinking about Exodus 18. But I'm going to read to you 19. I'm going to stick with what I've got on the plan right now. So we're going to read. Oh, that's my man. Special blessing for the one who gets the man of God. Water. I'm going to read from the ESV because I want to focus on some words. Oh, this is a word for word translation. So Exodus chapter 19, starting in verse 1, it says, on the third moon, new moon, after the people of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt. I just want to make sure you understand this. It's been 3 months, 2 months. It's the beginning of the third month since the people have been delivered from the hand of Pharaoh. You know, the whole running, getting out of there, the Red Sea, the plagues, all those things have happened. And it's been 2 months. We're beginning the third month since that's happened. On that day, they came into the wilderness of Sinai. They set out from Rephidim and came into the wilderness of Sinai. And they encamped in the wilderness. There, Israel encamped before the mountain while Moses went up to God. The Lord called to him out of the mountain, saying, Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the people of Israel, you yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession. I made that bold here. He said, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the people of Israel. So Moses came and he called the elders of the people and set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken, we will do. What are they talking about? God said, if you will obey my voice and follow, let's make sure we understand this. He said, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, you'll be my treasured possession. So the elders have said, okay, we will do what the Lord has spoken of. And Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, behold, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe you forever. When Moses told the words of the people to the Lord said to Moses, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments and be ready for the third day. For on the third day, the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. And you shall set limits for the people all around, saying, take care not to go up to the mountain or touch the edge of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall be put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall be stoned, him as in the one who touches the mountain. You're not even allowed to have a hand touch him, or he shall be stoned or shot. Whether beast or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated the people, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, be ready for the third day. Do not go near a woman, men. On the morning of the third day, there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast, so that all the people in the camp trembled. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they took their stand at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke, because the Lord had descended on it in fire. The smoke of it went up like the smoke of a kiln, and the whole mountain trembled greatly. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him in the thunder. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain. And the Lord called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And the Lord said to Moses, go down and warn the people, lest they break through to the Lord to look, and many of them perish. And let the priests who come near to the Lord consecrate themselves, lest the Lord break out against them. And Moses said to the people, said to the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you yourself warned us, saying, set limits around the mountain and consecrate it. And the Lord said to him, go down and come up, bringing Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to the Lord, lest he break out against them. Buddy, I need you to turn that down, please. So Moses went down to the people and told them. I just read to you all of chapter 19. So we got a lot of Moses mediating between God and the people. Now let's look at this like go through this with a fine tooth comb. I first want you to know I've been messing around with some AI, and I put in Exodus 19, and I told them, draw me a picture of that. And can you see that where it's light, where it's God descending upon the top of the mountain with fire and lightning and smoke all around it? And every time he spoke, that mountain trembled. That's pretty happy looking, isn't it? That's scary. That's very scary. And I want us to keep that in mind. Let's look at what actually happened between God and Moses. God, first of all, and just so you know, here's what I need to tell you. Exodus chapter 20 is the 10 Commandments. The thing that everybody thinks being a Christian, being a believer is about is in chapter 20. I'm not even going to read to you chapter 20. I want you to know chapter 20 is the 10 Commandments. What I want to read to you and focus on is chapter 19. This is what God said. You shall be my treasured possession among all peoples. That's a big deal. He said, you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Now think about what's happened. God has set them free from bondage. He provided for them daily out in the wilderness. I'm not going to pretend like everybody knows this story. There has literally been bread that appears on the ground every morning for them to eat. And when they were thirsty, water came out of rocks, and there was dew on the ground that they also could gather up to drink. Everything they needed. When they complained because it was just bread and water, he literally provided for them exotic fowl that we call quail. These people were well taken care of, and he protected them because where he was taking them, there was people that were already living there, and he was going to have them removed from that place. And they also saw that the people, there was a huge, vast crowd of people traveling towards them. And so they wanted to send spies, see what was going on, and see if they needed to act out before they came to them. But the Lord was protecting them. So much so that even the shoes on their feet didn't wear out while they were out in the wilderness. This is quite a display. And it says he provided for them daily out in the wilderness, and he chosen them to be the ones he manifests himself to. You notice God wanted to show himself to the people. He told Moses, go consecrate them and bring them here so they can see the Lord on the mountain. So he chose them to be the one he manifests himself to. And he chose them to be the ones he watches over. I want you to understand that all of these are acts of love. Every one of them. I love my wife very, very much. If there's anything I see her doing that negatively affects her, I want her to be removed from that negative effect of wherever she's at. God removed his people from bondage, slavery, where they're being mistreated. Is that one of us? Okay. Now, when I provide for my wife daily, it's because I love her. As an act of service, I make sure that she will have food to eat, climate controlled enclosure to live in, a bed to sleep in. This is an act of love that I show towards her. When I choose to be around her, it's an act of love that I choose to show her. When I protect her and watch over her, again, these are all acts of love that I should choose to show to her. I want you to see that before there was ever 10 commandments, and this is what I'm really laying the foundation for, God was showing his love to his people that he chose. He said, I want them to be my treasured possession. I want them to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, which will start to make a little more sense when we find out what that even means. So here's the main thing I want you to know. In fact, if you've got your notes, I want you to read this after I say it. Before we get to the 10 commandments, it's all about this relationship. Say that with me. Before we get to the 10 commandments, it's all about this relationship. And this is the first, this really jumped out to me because I want you to know, before we get into the do's and don'ts, God just wants to be with you. He wants to encounter you. He wants you to be his treasured possession. And he wants himself to be your God. from Genesis to Revelation. That's the first book to the last book. It says over and over that I want to be your God and I want you to be my people. It's the relationship that's the most important thing. There's a way of thinking, and even in us who are believers, that the Word of God is a group is rules that we have to live by, and that's what this whole thing is about. I want you to know before there were ever those rules, and there wasn't any of those rules yet. Thou shalt not kill was not a rule yet. It was something that Moses had to individually judge on a case-by-case basis. In fact, in Genesis chapter 18, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, is really concerned that Moses is constantly having to judge individually everybody's issue that's in this whole big group of people. And I want you to know, this wasn't like 100 people. This wasn't like 1,000 people. I've read different things that people believe, but even I've heard that this is over 1 million people out in the wilderness. And Moses is the one having to tell them, okay, you were wrong. You were right. You need to make it right by paying them back and give them your goat back. And all, individually he'd have to do these things. So Jethro decided to tell Moses he needed to do something different because he cared about Moses. Guess who else cares about Moses? God does. God says, I need to establish a moral set of rules that all these judgments can be made by. And then also what Jethro told Moses is, you can't be the only one. You need to have one guy that's in charge of 100 people, another guy that's in charge of 50,000, 1,000, 50, and 10. So it set up a whole system of judging, and then he set up the rules. I first wanted you to know that the most important thing was the relationship. The second thing I want you to know that those rules, even the whole purpose of bringing about those rules is because he cared about Moses and he cared about the people. If it's not established that my wife is my wife and you can't have her, and we're a community of people and people are starting to covet after my wife or covet after my tent or covet after the shoes that I have on my feet, and it's not even understood yet that that's wrong, then we're not going to be a very good, tight community. God wanted us to get along, to love each other, to thrive. So then he sets Exodus chapter 20, the 10 commandments. They're for our own good. I want to move on, but the very first thing, and this could be the most important thing I want you to learn about this encounter. God wants to have a relationship with us. That's before the set of rules that we need to follow. Okay, let me look at, I want to pull up something. I want to pull up something in the New Testament. I try to mix it up like this. Let's look at 1 Peter chapter 2. Because I want you to know you're his chosen possession. I want you to know you're something special that he wants to build. I want you